Jews living in America today are in more danger than ever. The FBI reports that more than 60% of religious hate crimes in the U.S. target Jews, even though they make up less than 2.5% of the total population. That's why one Israeli journalist is telling American Jews to get out now. Paul Strand reports.
Hillel Fuld usually follows and advises Israel's high-tech industry. Recently, though, he waded into heavier matters with a column entitled, "American Jews Get Out Now." He wrote it because of the rising tide of anti-Semitism and his desire for his Jewish friends in the U.S. to read the writing on the wall.
You know, since I'm a little kid, having grandparents who survived Auschwitz, I've always struggled with the question, why didn't they get out, right? I mean, Nuremberg laws. I mean, these guys, full-blown, like, anti-Semitism, mainstream society in Europe, the Jews just stuck around. And I always, I asked myself, why didn't they read the writing on the wall? What had to happen? And I never understood it. I always struggled with that. And then I look at America right now. You got full-blown pop artists, Kanye West, going full-blown anti-Semite. You got Saturday Night Live normalizing anti-Semitism. You got NBA players, full-blown anti-Semites. What has to happen? Jews being beaten up in the streets? Done. It's done. But what has to happen for the Jews to say, all right, enough is enough. This is not our home. Now, you know, we always grew up saying never again. Obviously, the Holocaust can never happen again. The truth is, it could never happen again because we have Israel. But American Jews, I think they're not looking at history. I think they're maybe ignoring, you know, what went on throughout the Jewish, you know, history, from the Spanish Inquisition to the pogroms to the Holocaust. You know, we got too comfortable.
And Fuld's frustration is that this attitude remains, although Jews are being physically assaulted in a number of American cities.
I see it pretty much every day on my Facebook feeds, every day. And
like that.
Yeah, I mean, literally last night, a friend of mine on Twitter, she said she was walking with her family in the street, and some African-American came over and said, oh, we're gonna kill all you Jews. And everyone stood around watching this thing, yelling in her face, cursing her kids and everything. People stood around watching. Nobody said a word, nobody did a thing. The whole thing, you know, listen, really, the whole thing doesn't make any sense, because, you know, the Jews are, like, statistically non-existent. We're so small, right? 20% of all Nobel Prizes were given to Jews. Do you know that? 20%. I mean, there's something remarkable about the Jewish people. I don't think anyone would debate that. We survived, and the Romans didn't, and the Greeks didn't, and the Nazis didn't. We're here, right? But there is this, I don't know. I mean, I can tell you my theory of why anti-Semitism exists, but there is this just historic thing that just keeps showing its ugly face every generation. And again, it's unfortunate that Jews forget history. I mean, look at Germany. You don't have to think about 300 years. I'm talking about Germany, 80 years ago. I mean, they were comfortable until they weren't.
Fuld says the solution is for Jews to leave and head for Israel. Those outside Israel, however, might be under the impression its Jewish population constantly lives in fear of terror attacks.
First of all, I don't know if you know, but my older brother was murdered in a terrorist attack. So I know it firsthand, okay? I'm not, every life that's lost is an entire world. Having said that, we have to look at the grand scheme of things. Take a step back. There has never been a 75-year period. Listen to the statistics, it's phenomenal. It's just fascinating. There has never been a 75-year period since the destruction of the temple that there were so few Jews killed in the world. So again, every life that's lost to terrorism is a horrible tragedy, but in the grand scheme of things, this country's defending us. Whereas there, we're at the mercy of everyone else, and we know how that turns out. So, you know, yeah, I think it is significantly safer here. And I'm not belittling. There is terror, but in the grand scheme of things, it's in our hands. This is our home. I heard someone say, in America, you can succeed despite being a Jew. In Israel, you succeed because you're a Jew. And to me, that's what it comes down to. And by the way, someone recently said to me, they moved to Israel, he said, not because I'm a Zionist, but because I'm a capitalist, which is amazing, because this is where it's all going on in terms of technology and innovation. So, you know, we're living the dream. It's never been this good for the Jewish people, and I'm proud to live here. I'm a big talker. My parents brought me here. I didn't make a decision. I want to believe that had they not brought me here, I would have come myself. But in America, it's scary. It's scary times.
It is scary times now, and when you read these FBI reports about the number of hate crimes specifically targeting Jews, specifically targeting synagogues, it makes your blood run cold. America has always been a safe haven, and this goes all the way back to George Washington, his famous letter to the Rhode Island synagogue, that this will be a sanctuary country, and this will be a place where you can grow and you have freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, freedom of conscience. All of these things were supposed to be part of the American dream. And now we're seeing these broad currents in our culture that are eerily similar to what Nazi Germany was doing, both in terms of normalizing ridicule and creating specific joke patterns that target specific people in order to marginalize them and diminish them and have people think of them no longer as people, but as some kind of target. And for this to be happening in our culture, all good people need to stand up and say, no, never again. We're not going to allow this. These jokes aren't funny. This normalization has to stop. This should be a protected place. Everyone should have these freedoms and enjoy them. That is part of our American dream. Let's hold to that dream. And instead of just dreaming it, can we please make it real?